there was not so long ago a point where anyone asking the question of whether a lab leak was a credible theory that should be looked into, a lot of those people were derided as fringe, conspiracy theorists. So are there lessons learned, looking back about how we discuss
we ended up to be right
theories when we don't have all of the answers?
So here's what I can tell you is the president's commitment to getting to the bottom of this, right? That is what's the most important, so that we can share this with Congress. We can share this with the American people. That is why he asked the IC to do its work. And right now, there is no consensus. There is no consensus. You heard this from Jake Sullivan yesterday. You heard this from my colleague just moments ago. And we're going to do everything that we can. The president is asking his team to do everything that they can to figure out where it originated, because of what could potentially happen next, because of the potential of having another pandemic. And I think that's what's most important. That's what the American people should have confidence in, is that you have a president that wants to get to the bottom of this. Go ahead, Kelly.
On the lab, with the Department of Energy having expertise on an oversight of laboratories, does that in and of itself suggest there is something particularly new in this intelligence that should give people a sense of a greater credibility or insight because of the kind of expertise DOE has in this area?
The national labs. No, I understand.
Okay, I can't listen to anymore. But the basic point is that they're not going to confirm the Wall Street Journal report, and that there is no consensus within the federal government. Why Dr. Fauci and other officials actually promoted a particular theory? Just a word salad from Karine on that. Why they did that. It's a really good question. Why didn't you? I actually just heard this on the midday show there. If there was no consensus, there still is no consensus, then why? Why? What were there theories put forth by the highest officials as to where the virus came from? And why was there absolutely adamant dismissal as a fringe conspiracy theory that it may have come from the lab? If there was no consensus, how can you have those two things? There was obviously a consensus. Now they want to go, there's no consensus. But there was a consensus during this administration and the last administration. There was clearly a consensus. It was only two. Jon Stewart said that thing to Colbert. Well, the virus is the same thing as the lab. It was only then that, throughout American culture, it became possible. It became allowable, permissible to suggest that the virus came from the lab, as Senator Cotton suggested in 2020, as a lot of us suggested in 2020. But you were looked at as a crackpot in 2020, or even much more recently as well, if you thought or suggested that. And you could have been censored on social media if you suggested it. But now there's no consensus. Yeah, apparently there was a consensus enough back then that they were putting forth their own theories that it possibly could not have come from the lab. And if you suggest it comes from the lab, you're a nut job. All right, we'll go back.
Payroll taxes on higher income Americans. How does the president assess this? And does he think you could actually expand Social Security benefits while still strengthening the long-term